Okay, let's dive into a story that really struck a chord on Reddit. A classic tale of family, money, inheritance, and what happens when one sibling takes a huge risk while the other just wants quick cash. The title of the post that caught everyone's eye was, "Am I the whole for tricking my brother into selling me his half of our childhood home then demolishing it?" And the video title hinting at the outcome. "I bought my brother's share of dad's house and demolished it, now I make." Yeah, you can already feel the tension building, right? This isn't just about a house, it's about years of family dynamics, choices, and the fallout when one person's vision clashes with another's desire for instant gratification. Stick around because this one gets messy, involving accusations, threats, and a whole lot of family drama centered around a pile of rubble that turned into a goldmine. So let's set the scene. Our storyteller, let's call him Op, starts by giving us some crucial family background. His parents divorced when he was young. Now, custody arrangements can be tough, but this one had a twist that shaped the brothers' relationship for years to come. Op explains, "My brother loved the fact that our mom had no rules for him, so he went with her. I abided by the custody agreement because I had no choice in the matter." Right there, you see the split. One brother gets the freedom, the perceived fun parent, while Op sticks to the structure, maybe feeling a bit left out or constrained. And the dynamic with mom, Op puts it bluntly. "My mom loves us both, but she dotes on my brother like he farts perfume." Oof. Anyone who grew up with a sibling knows that feeling, the sting of perceived favoritism. It wasn't just Op imagining things either. The comments section later confirmed this wasn't a new development. This golden child treatment was baked into their family history, with commenters sharing stories of how the mother would often force Op to share his things with the brother, establishing a pattern of entitlement that would rear its head years later. Meanwhile, Dad kept the house after the divorce. He had to buy Mom out, which probably wasn't easy. And this house, it wasn't some modern marvel. Op describes it as an old house built in 1953. It had old wiring and was really less than suitable for modern life. Think potential electrical hazards, maybe plumbing issues, the kind of place that needs constant upkeep or a major overhaul. But it had one redeeming feature, something Op cherished from his childhood. What it did have, though, was a huge yard that was great growing up. You can picture it, right? Space to run, play, maybe climb trees, the kind of yard that holds memories. But sentimentality aside, Op, even back then, probably saw the writing on the wall for the house itself. In the comments, someone noted that a 1953 house isn't that old in some places. But Op clarified that in his city, the life cycle is much shorter. Houses often get torn down after just 29 years. So this place was definitely past its prime in its location's context. It was essentially living on borrowed time, valued more for the land it sat on than the structure itself. Fast forward to a much tougher time, the COVID pandemic. Tragedy strikes the family. Op shares, "My dad passed away during COVID. Losing a parent is devastating under any circumstances, but during the isolation and fear of the pandemic. Even harder, and with his passing came the question of inheritance. He left everything equally between my brother and I. Everything, in this case, primarily meant the house. The old, outdated, memory-filled house on that big lot. Now Op had a vision. He didn't just see the old house, he saw the potential of the land it occupied. He says, "I wanted the house, but not necessarily to live in its current state." He had a plan, a business idea. "I told my brother that we should tear it down and put in infill housing like that neighborhood is zoned for." This wasn't some pie-in-the-sky dream. Op had done his homework. He knew the zoning laws, saw the opportunity that the large lot presented in a neighborhood likely seeing redevelopment. He wasn't just thinking about preserving memories. He was thinking about building a future, generating wealth from the asset their father left them. He didn't just spring this idea on his brother casually either. The comments revealed more detail here. Op actually presented his brother with a detailed business plan. This wasn't a vague suggestion, it was a concrete proposal. He offered his brother a true partnership. "Invest your half of the house's value, maybe kick in some cash you have, and let's build this thing together." What was the potential payoff for the brother? According to Op in the comments, the brother would have received 2 of the planned 4 units in return. 2 brand new homes. He could live in one, rent the other, rent both, maybe even reconfigure them. The possibilities were significant. It was a chance to turn his inheritance into a long-term, income-generating asset. But what was the brother's reaction to this detailed, potentially life-changing business proposal? Op sums it up succinctly. He just wanted money. No vision, no interest in partnership, no desire to take on the risk or the work involved in a development project. He wanted the cash right here, right now. Forget the future potential, he wanted immediate gratification. So Op respected his brother's choice even if he likely disagreed with it. "I bought out his half of the house at the market value." And crucially, Op adds, "It was sold as a teardown." This wasn't Op lowballing him based on the potential future value after development. A professional evaluation was done, determining the fair market value of the property as it stood, an old house needing demolition. Op paid his brother 50% of that teardown value. It was a fair, transparent transaction based on the property's current condition and market assessment. And what did the brother do with this infusion of cash, his share of their father's legacy? Op tells us he took the money and bought a car and went on a vacation. He still has money left. Classic short-term thinking. Instead of investing in a future asset, he opted for depreciating assets and fleeting experiences. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with buying a car or taking a vacation, but in the context of turning down a partnership that could have set him up financially. It paints a picture of someone focused solely on the present, perhaps influenced by that lifelong pattern of getting what he wants without much effort, thanks to mom's doting. With the brother paid out and pursuing his own priorities, Op was free to pursue his vision. He now owned the entire property, albeit with the burden of whatever financing he needed to buy his brother out. And he didn't waste any time. Then I had the house demolished. Imagine the emotions involved there, demolishing your childhood home, the place tied to memories of your father, that big yard. It couldn't have been easy, even knowing it was part of a larger plan, but Op was focused and built a fourplex. This wasn't a small undertaking. Demolition, permits, architects, builders, managing construction, dealing with inevitable delays or cost overruns, it's a massive project fraught with risk. Op took on all of it. He secured the financing, managed the process, and shouldered the stress. He describes the result. Each unit has 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, a small yard, and a garage. These sound like desirable, modern, family-sized units, perfectly suited for infill housing in an established neighborhood. He wasn't just slapping up cheap rentals, he built quality homes. And the financial outcome, this is where the brothers' resentment likely started brewing. Op lays out the numbers. I kept 1 unit for myself and rent each of the other units for $2,000 a month. That's 3 units bringing in $6,000 per month in gross rental income. My mortgage is $1,800 a month for the entire thing. Let that sink in. His entire mortgage for the land and the construction of 4 brand new units is only $1,800 a month. This speaks volumes about the value unlocked by the redevelopment and potentially favorable financing Op secured. The bottom line, Op states it plainly, so basically I live free and bank $4,000 a month. He lives in a brand new home, mortgage-free effectively, and clears a substantial passive income stream every single month. He took the risk, did the work, managed the project, took on the debt, and now he's reaping the rewards. It's the definition of sweat equity and smart investment paying off. He turned an old, decaying house into a modern, income-producing asset that provides him with financial security. You'd think the brother, having made his choice to take the cash and run, would be happy for Op's success, or at least accept that Op's path led to a different outcome. Right? Wrong, very wrong. The success Op built became the catalyst for the next wave of family drama. Op reveals, my brother is pissed that I didn't give him a unit to live in for him since it was his home too. Hold on, let's rewind. Didn't Op offer him a partnership where he would have owned 2 units? Didn't the brother turn that down flat because he preferred immediate cash for a car and a vacation? Yes, he did. The entitlement here is staggering. He made his choice, spent the money, and now that Op's venture is successful, he feels entitled to a piece of the pie he explicitly rejected. He wants the reward without any of the risk or investment. It gets worse, it's not like Op just shut the door on him after the initial rejection. Op clarifies, I actually offered to sell him one at cost and he said no. So even after the fourplex was built, Op extended another olive branch. Not market value but at cost. This was incredibly generous. It would have allowed the brother to buy into the successful project without Op making a profit on that specific unit, but the brother said no again. Why? The comments shed light on this. The brother likely couldn't afford it even at cost and probably couldn't qualify for a mortgage anyway, given his financial decisions. So he rejected the initial partnership, spent the buyout money, couldn't afford the at-cost offer, and still feels entitled to a free unit. The audacity is breathtaking. This is where the accusation of being tricked comes in. Op says, he thinks I tricked him because I get free money every month. The brother conveniently ignores the fact that Op presented a business plan, offered partnership, paid fair market value for the teardown, offered to sell a unit at cost, and most importantly, took on all the risk and debt. The brother sees the end result, Op living well, and feels cheated, completely disregarding his own choices that led him down a different path. He doesn't see the years of planning, the stress of construction, the burden of the mortgage Op carries. He just sees the free money and thinks he was somehow swindled out of it. It's a classic case of sour grapes mixed with profound entitlement, likely fueled by that lifelong golden child status. He probably expected Op's plan to fail, or maybe didn't think about it at all until he saw the tangible success. Op also mentioned in the comments that he only revealed the financial details, the $6K income versus $1.8K mortgage, because his brother specifically asked. It wasn't like Op was flaunting it initially. The brother dug for the information and then got angry about it. Op is understandably bewildered by this reaction. I'm lost. I offered him a partnership, I paid a fair price, I offered to sell him a unit, I did everything to try and be fair. He laid out multiple opportunities for his brother to benefit from the property's potential, and his brother rejected every single one in favor of immediate cash. How is that being tricked? As commenters pointed out repeatedly, Op was NTA not the whole by any stretch of the imagination. He acted ethically and even generously at multiple points. The brother simply made poor choices and now regrets them, blaming Op instead of taking responsibility. But the drama doesn't stop with the brother. Oh no, enter Mom, the doting matriarch who apparently never met a situation where her favored son wasn't right. Op reveals the next escalation. Our mom said she would be cutting me out of her will and giving everything to him if I didn't give him a unit or the income from one. Wow, just wow. Mom jumps straight to financial and emotional blackmail, weaponizing her will to force Op to subsidize his entitled brother. She completely ignores the history, the offers Op made, the fairness of the buyout. All she sees is her golden child feeling aggrieved, so Op must be punished unless he caves. This reinforces everything Op said about the family dynamic, the brother who farts perfume. Now you might think being cut out of a will is a serious threat. But Op, perhaps knowing the reality of his mother's financial situation, or maybe just being completely over the manipulation, had a calm, calculated, and frankly brilliant response. I agreed that was fair and said that I would no longer feel the need to contribute to her upkeep or retirement when the time came. Mic drop. Op calls her bluff, or rather, accepts her terms and lays out the logical consequence. If she's cutting him off financially in the future via the will, why should he feel obligated to support her financially now or when she needs it later? It's a perfectly reasonable boundary. You can't expect financial support from someone you're actively punishing to benefit their sibling. The comments section added a hilarious layer to this. Op revealed what was actually in the mother's will that she was threatening him with: a pug and a Hyundai Kona, a pug and a Hyundai. Suddenly, the threat of being cut out seems less like a devastating financial blow and more like, well, losing out on a used car and responsibility for a dog. This context makes Op's calm acceptance even more powerful. He wasn't losing a fortune. He was potentially losing very little, while simultaneously freeing himself from the future expectation of financially supporting a mother who clearly favored his brother to an extreme degree. Commenters speculated that the mother might already be giving money to the brother, which could explain why she might need Op's support later, and why she's so desperate to get the brother taken care of via Op's success. So now Op is facing pressure from both sides. I am being bombarded by the two of them, he says. You can imagine the texts, the calls, the guilt trips, the accusations. It sounds exhausting. But Op remains firm, grounded in the reality of the situation. But I took the risks. I took on the debt. This is my money now. He understands the fundamental difference between his actions and his brother's. He put skin in the game, navigated the complexities of property development, and managed the financial burden. His success wasn't luck. It was earned through effort, vision, and significant risk. His brother chose a different path, one with immediate, guaranteed, but limited reward and zero risk. The Reddit community overwhelmingly sided with Op. The verdict was a resounding NTA. People shared their own stories of dealing with entitled siblings and enabling parents. Many pointed out the sheer audacity of the brother demanding a free unit after rejecting multiple fair offers. The advice poured in: maintain your boundaries. Don't let them move in, you'll never get rent, and evicting family is a nightmare. Your mother made her choice. Stick to your decision about her upkeep. Commenters validated Op's feelings and actions, recognizing the toxic dynamic he was navigating. They saw the brother's short-sightedness and the mother's blatant favoritism for what they were. Op himself, despite the conflict, showed a degree of compassion, mentioning in the comments that he still loves his idiot brother. But love doesn't mean enabling destructive behavior or sacrificing your own hard-earned success to appease entitlement. He seems prepared to follow through on his decision regarding his mother's future financial needs, recognizing that her actions have consequences too. She can't play favorites so blatantly and still expect him to be her safety net. This story is a masterclass in understanding risk versus reward. Op saw potential where his brother saw an old building. Op was willing to delay gratification, take on debt, and put in the work for a potentially larger payoff. The brother wanted instant cash, no risk, no effort. Both got what they initially wanted. The brother got his car and vacation. Op got the property and the opportunity. The conflict arose only after Op's risk paid off handsomely. It also highlights the destructive nature of entitlement and parental favoritism. The brother's belief that he was tricked stems from a lifetime of being the golden child, likely believing things should just come easily to him. He can't comprehend that Op's success is the direct result of choices he explicitly rejected. The mother, by siding with the brother and resorting to threats, perpetuates this dynamic, refusing to hold her favored son accountable for his own decisions. Her threat to change the will, especially given its modest contents, reveals more about her desire to control Op and appease the brother than any real financial leverage. Op's journey wasn't just about building a fourplex, it was about building boundaries. He navigated a complex inheritance situation fairly. He offered partnership. He paid a fair price. He even offered a discounted sale later. When faced with unreasonable demands and emotional blackmail, he stood firm, calmly asserting the reality of the risks he took and the rewards he earned. He refused to be guilt-tripped into fixing his brother's poor financial choices or enabling his mother's favoritism. What are the lessons here? Maybe it's about seeing potential beyond the surface. Maybe it's about the courage to take calculated risks. Maybe it's about understanding that fair doesn't always mean equal outcomes when effort and risk aren't equally shared. Or maybe, most importantly, it's about the difficult but necessary act of setting boundaries, even with family when faced with entitlement and manipulation. Op didn't trick his brother, he presented choices. The brother made his and Op made his. Now they are both living with the consequences, but only one of them seems to understand that connection. Op built more than just houses. He built a financially secure future for himself based on his own merit. And in doing so, he had to tear down more than just a building. He had to start dismantling a toxic family dynamic. And for that, Reddit agreed, he was definitely not the dollar hole. He played the long game while his brother cashed out early. You can't be mad when the person who stayed in the game wins the pot they risked everything for.